Hello there, how you doing? Jeff D, AIMCBizSolutions.com, Mass Professional Networking for a marketing tip, networking tip for the week. So, have you ever said to yourself, I hate networking events. I dread going into a room and meeting strangers in order to build my business. But you know you have to find ways to find the right clients. Even if it's, I can even switch this around. If you're looking for a job and you need to meet people and hiring managers and all that, but you do not like networking events. Well, guess what? I got some alternatives for you. Even as someone that runs networking events, honestly, you're not alone. A lot of high performing, we'll call introverted business owners hate networking events. You don't need them. And I always say this a lot in the world of marketing and through our podcasts and all, is you always want to have a multi-channeled approach to lead generation and building your business. So networking events happens to be one channel, but there are other channels for you to do. There are some proven alternatives out there. So let's get started with a few tips here. The first thing I would always recommend to you is to build a referral engine, not necessarily a Rolodex, but instead of meeting, you go to an event, there's 100 people there, focus on 5 to 10 strategic partners who already serve your ideal clients, right? And work with them. Identify adjacent businesses, whether they're consultants, CPAs, fractional executives. Have one-on-ones with those 5 to 10 strategic partners versus going to a huge event. Align on who you can help, how you can help, and what problems you solve. And you'll be surprised how well that works, because it'll create a nice referral rhythm for you. The second thing I like to do, and I always stress this with fractional folks, is turning your expertise into visibility. You don't need to work the room. Your ideas are working for you, right? So I love LinkedIn. I love newsletters. If anyone's talked to me in the past, I love newsletters because they seem to be a little more, they hit the algorithm a little bit better on LinkedIn. Do some short educational videos. Just like this video here, I'm coaching everyone out there about alternatives to networking events, even though I run a successful networking group, because I know there's a multi-channel approach to business building, right? So you also want to, and I say this a lot in LinkedIn and other social platforms, do the old like, comment, repost, share, especially comment of posts that you like, especially on your ideal clients. Always pick your ideal client and look and follow them and comment on them. Do some case studies or insight-driven content. That's going to attract. That's going to be an inbound approach to attracting your client. All right. So you also want to leverage warm introductions, right? You call it the anti-networking move, right? So, most opportunities come from second degree connections. And I always talk about the mission of mass professional networking is the second level connection. It's not always the person that you meet at the event. It's who they know, right? Friend of a friend. That's maybe, your best next client. You always want to reach out to existing clients, former employees, vendors, peers, and who do you know dealing with this problem? I'm a weight loss person, right? Who do you know that needs to lose weight? Maybe it's too personal there, but you get the point there. You want to make the introductions easy and write the intro email for them. Don't say, hey, just can you find somebody for me? You want to take that step to build that intro email, right? And this is another one too, and I always, another thing we do at Mass Professional Networking, coaching and events, is we help others start their own groups or their own events. So you might want to create like a round table event. It could be at a restaurant or it could be online, 5 to 8 people. Do a virtual lunch, virtual coffee. Create a private group on Slack or LinkedIn. And you want to really focus on a core group of people that you want to work with and moderate a focused discussion. So that you'll be amazed how that works. I always say to folks, even with our events, you go to an event, there's only 20 people here tonight. Sometimes those events are the best events because they're a lot more focused. And here's another one: be everywhere where your clients are. So pick where your clients are and go there, right? If you are, I don't know, I'm thinking like if you go to a home show, right? There are a lot of construction companies there. If you do outsourced HR, if you do marketing for construction companies, go to a home show, meet some folks that work at construction companies. Industry specific online communities, trade publications, podcasts. Love podcasts, right? Peer advisory groups. Go where your clients are. You'll be amazed how that works. And then, of course, turning clients to advocates. Nothing like testimonials. Do a great job. Show that you care. You're going to get referrals and testimonials. Share the client's success on your social media publicly, and you'll be very surprised. So there are alternatives out there, and of course you got to work at it. Unfortunately, just like networking events, again, I'm not saying networking events are not the way to go. There's nothing that beats networking events. 80% of folks that get jobs today in a career get jobs through a network, meeting somebody at a networking event. Nothing like the personal human connection. We talk about that a lot. And that hopefully will help you, if you want, kind of in closing with networking events, if you prefer deep relationships, want predictable growth and value of time, networking is for you, right? And then, the intentional connection beats the random interaction every time. So you always want to make it intentional, and you will have an amazing business and an amazing career. Hope that helps. I know it's a little bit longer today, my video, I apologize, but it's Jeff D, AIMC, BizSolutions.com, Mass Professional Networking. Have a good day.